What's going on YouTube? John here from Next Gen Guitars, Canada's distributor for guitar and speaker cabinet parts, also offering custom shop services. Welcome to the first video of our featured builder series. Today we'll be talking with Zane O'Brien of Legend Custom Guitars from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada. Legend Custom Guitars was first established in 1988 by musician and master woodworker Zane O'Brien. So we're going to give Zane a call and talk guitars for a little bit.
Hello.
Zane, how you doing? It's John calling from Next Gen Guitars.
Oh, right, yeah.
How are you doing?
Not too bad.
You got 10, 20 minutes or so?
I got about 10 minutes because I got to go pick up my grandkids at school.
Okay, I'll try to keep it quick then.
Okay.
Just curious, going right back to the beginning, as a musician, let's say, how old were you when you first started playing guitar and what got you into it?
14, I think.
Wow. Any favorite players?
Oh, Jimi Hendrix, what's his name, that Italian guy. Can't think of his name right now.
Okay. Are you still listening to modern guitar music? Do you follow any of the new guys? Like Andy Timmons
I like
and
Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh, okay.
Can't think of that guy's name. He's an instrumentalist. Billy Strange, have you ever heard of him?
Billy Strange, yes.
Way back in the 60s, but I really like his style of playing.
Nice. Do you still play much yourself, or?
I don't play professionally anymore. I used to, but I stopped playing professionally in 98.
You still get a chance to jam with anybody, or?
Oh, yeah, I still jam once in a while with guys. A few friends of mine that are still kicking that want to get together once in a while, and we jam. But I jam by myself a lot, too, because I use MIDI files.
Oh, yeah,
and,
okay.
I have like a whole band backing me up, so I just go in, I use a program called Cakewalk, and I edit the program. I take out the lead guitar or the bass guitar, whatever instrument I'm going to play, and then I play along with the music.
Nice. It's a good way to keep in practice.
Pardon?
It's a good way to keep practicing and enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. It keeps you sharp because, you're playing to, to a band,
yeah.
And it's a lot easier to learn songs when you're playing, with the music, right?
What?
So I really enjoy doing that. I don't enjoy going out playing anymore because it's too much lugging and carrying, and I'm getting too old for that shit.
When are you are you playing straight into the computer, or are you going through like an amp, or?
No, I got a PA system down in my shop.
Yeah.
A big three-way PA system with bass bins, mid cabinets, and horns.
Nice.
And then I use a laptop computer, and then what I've got is a 12-channel mixer, and then I've got a couple of power amps and a crossover unit and an effects unit in my rack. And then the laptop computer, and I have a Roland RS or an ST35 MIDI player.
Yeah.
That I've got hard connected to my computer. And on my computer, I've got Cakewalk software. So basically, I have over 3,000 MIDI files.
Yeah.
And I just go in, I open up a MIDI file, and it shows all the tracks. And if I decide I'm going to play the lead guitar in that track, then I'll turn that track off and then learn the part and then play it.
That's a good way to do it. That's actually, I was lucky enough to start out sort of in the digital age, so I've been playing along with computer like that for a while.
Is that right?
It keeps you sharp. It really does. It's nice to practice along with a band rather than just, blindly on your own to a metronome.
Yeah, I mean, when you have real music behind you, it's just a lot easier to express yourself and put, feeling in what you're playing, right?
Absolutely.
If you're sitting there on a chair and you're just playing by yourself, it's not the same.
It's true. Although every once in a while, there's a good time for that too.
Yeah.
What was you started in 1988 as Legend Custom Guitars, right?
Yes.
Now, had you been building guitars before that?
No, I was building kitchen cabinets and doing custom millwork and stuff like that. And then there was a real kind of a downturn in the economy, and I was sort of looking for something else, and I wasn't real busy at that time with the cabinet stuff and custom millwork and woodworking and that kind of thing. So I built a guitar for a friend of mine, and it turned out pretty good. And he said, you should be building guitars. I mean, this is, because I know how to play guitar, and I know what makes a good guitar, and I know how they should play and feel and sound like.
Yeah.
And so I built my first guitar for this guy who used to play in the band that I played in. And then I started, acquiring different tools and things that I needed that I didn't really have for doing guitar work.
Yeah, all the specialty tools.
Yeah, a lot of specialty stuff like, luthier files and
now, Stu Mac.
fret bending units and just a lot of specialty tools that you need.
Now, places like Stu Mac back then didn't really exist. Where did you pick all that stuff up, or did you build a lot of your own tools?
I built some of them. I've got a buffing machine here that Stu Mac did exist, but I bought buffing wheels from them.
Okay.
And built my own buffing machine. And I bought a lot of tools from Stu Mac over the years, and Luthier Supply, specialty stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got all that stuff, and I use it quite a bit when I'm working on guitars, like for dressing frets and, leveling fingerboards, and I've got special files for all that stuff.
Yep.
And, basically any tool that I needed, I just went out and bought it. I got a fret press.
So it was a big investment starting it up then?
Pardon?
It was a big investment
there
then?
there was like some of the more expensive things were, I had to buy a special cutter for one of my shapers for doing the radius on the fingerboard.
Mm.
And so I bought this cutter that I had to have custom made. It's got like carbide inserts in it that create the 12-inch radius on the fingerboard.
Oh, wow.
So I had that custom made in Ontario, and they made it for me and then sent it to me, and then I had to make all the jigs and things for holding the neck in place while it was being shaped.
Yeah.
But now my fingerboards, if it's going to be a 12-inch radius, it's a perfect 12-inch radius.
That's great.
And then my fret bender bends the wire to exactly 12-inch radius, and everything just goes together really slick.
Well, that's what you want, right? Nice tight fit everywhere.
Yeah.
I got to say, when I was looking at your website, taking a look at the different guitars and things, there's a few things that really jumped out at me. The first, honestly, is your prices, actually. Your guitars are priced like as low as what people would expect to get from a mass-produced company, but all your stuff is handmade?
Yes.
How, that's pretty amazing. How do you, don't give away your secrets, obviously, but how do you do that?
Well, I kind of take advantage of mass production to a small degree. Like when I build necks, I don't build just one neck. I'll build like 10.
Okay.
The same with guitar bodies. Usually I make a few at a time. The other thing is, like, everything is done on templates and jigs. So once I have the jigs and templates perfected, it's pretty straight going because you can't make a mistake. I mean, basically, like for, say, a telly body, I have a couple of different jigs for tellies, but they're basically like a template of the guitar. There's two templates for each guitar. There's one for the perimeter, and then there's another one for all the routings for the neck pocket and pickup cavities and stuff like that. So there's actually two templates, and if you put the two of them together, they kind of make the guitar.
Yeah, for sure.
So the first template's used for cutting the material out to the shape of the telly, and then the next template's used for routing the neck pocket and control cavity and pickup cavities. So once it's, once I have those templates, then it's pretty straight going. But the templates have got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to keep repeating the same mistake over and over again.
Exactly. And you've had almost 30 years now to perfect those templates, so I'm sure they're pretty darn close by now, or perfect, if not.
Yeah. And sometimes I get like someone will want a telly, but they want a humbucker in the neck position. So what I have to do is use my perimeter template for the body shape, and then have a different template for routing the different pickup configurations. So I have quite a few, different templates for like tellies and strats and things like that, depending on what the configuration is of the pickups.
Now, another thing that caught my eye when I was looking at your website is that all your guitars look fantastic, which is great. You have a number of guitars also. We talked about this before with some custom inlay. The Dragon Strat, the Texas Telly with the Western theme, the Dolphin and the Vines, and I was pretty blown away when I saw those. When we were talking before, you were saying that you used to do all the inlay work yourself, but lately, because of Canadian restrictions, you can't really do that anymore.
Well, I used to do, and I still do, some of the simpler inlay work, because doing inlay work is very time consuming and slow. You can't rush it, and it takes a lot of time. And mother of pearl and abalone shell are extremely hard. It's as hard as like a human tooth.
Yeah, so where's your tools down?
You can actually smell the smell that you get sometimes if you're sitting in the dentist office and he's really drilling your tooth, and you can smell that smell. That's what it smells like. And so you have to have like solid carbide downcut spiral router bits that are the size of a dentist drill, which I mount into my overhead pin router, and cut them out. And the way you do your patterns is you take a piece of paper and you draw each piece, and each piece has to fit together. So you draw a picture of what it is that you're going to make the inlay of. Say it's I don't know, a dolphin. Well, you draw a picture of a dolphin, and then you have to take that piece of paper and cut it out, and then glue it onto a piece of mother of pearl, and then cut out the dolphin, from the outside line of the paper that's glued onto it. And then you get your piece, and then you have to clean it up on the edges, and then you have to make another piece, and you put all these pieces together to make your picture of whatever it's going to be on the fingerboard. The other thing you have to do is, like, if you're gluing it into, say, an ebony fingerboard, you got to paint the ebony fingerboard white. And then you take a scribe, and you lay the piece of abalone that you've cut out, or mother of pearl, and you take a really sharp scribe, and you scribe around the outside perimeter of the piece, and that takes the paint off the fingerboard and leaves a black line. And then you know exactly where you have to route to inlay it. Okay. Inlaying it into the ebony, you have to, because it's very thin. It's only like a millimeter and a half thick. So you've got to, have extremely good precision when you're inlaying or cutting out the ebony. You don't want it too deep, and you don't want it not deep enough. You want it just right, so that the mother of pearl just sits above the edge, so that when you finish everything, you can sand it flush.
Yeah.
And you mix up epoxy, and you put black powder in it to create a black liquid or black paste.
Yeah, around the rim.
How you glue it in, it all squeezes out. When you sand it off and level it with the fingerboard, you can't tell if there's any gaps. They're all filled.
Nice. Now, you were saying that you can't even get mother of pearl and abalone anymore in Canada.
No, you can't. The Canadian government passed a law that prevents it from being imported into Canada. And, it's a problem, because people like myself who use it or used to use it a lot can't get it. You can't even get the round dot position markers in real mother of pearl anymore because they won't ship them to Canada. The luthier supply companies in the States, like All Parts and Stuart McDonald, they won't ship it across the border.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, stuck. Now, I have a supplier I deal with in Vietnam that does some custom inlays for me. Some of the more complicated ones that you see on my website on some of the guitars, like the Dragon, that was actually made in Vietnam and shipped to me. I basically designed it, told them what I wanted, sent them a plan, and they made it for me and then shipped it to me. But I don't know. I could probably get them to ship it to me. The thing is whether it gets caught at the border or not. And I haven't ordered any from them lately, so.
Oh wow! So even in a finished fingerboard, it'll still get stopped.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that. I thought it was only that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's a problem, and it's not just people that are luthiers that are being affected. It's people that make jewelry that use abalone and mother of pearl in custom jewelry. They can't get it either. Because I was talking to a couple of them at a craft show one day, and they told me the same thing, that they can't get the stuff anymore.
Are there any alternatives to Pearloid and or not Pearloid, but real mother of pearl and abalone?
Not really. It's shell, and it's hard to replicate it. I mean, Pearloid plastic kind of looks like Pearloid, real mother of pearl, but if you look at it closely, it doesn't have the same shimmer to it. It's just, it looks like plastic.
Yeah.
And real mother of pearl looks like real pearl. There's really no substitute. I'm not going to give up on this because I've got to find a source somewhere, to get it, because I need it in the kind of work that I do.
Yeah, for sure. A question for you. Have you always been out in Nova Scotia?
Yes.
Okay. Did you grow up out there?
Yeah. Just a second.
Sure.
No, I grew up in Sarnia, Ontario.
Okay.
Until I was about 12, and then I moved to, I was originally from here, born in Halifax, and moved back, my parents.
Okay.
And I've been here ever since.
Did you, when you started Legend Guitars, did you continue with the other woodworking as well?
Yes. Okay. And I have done, jobs like kitchen cabinets and off and on, depending on how busy I was. Sometimes I've turned them down because I was just too busy with other stuff. And when you start a job like a custom kitchen, you got to kind of focus on just that.
Yeah, it's a big job. Do you? Yeah. Sorry, I was noticing on your website also. You mentioned doing custom jobs, custom guitars, and vintage recreations.
Yeah, vintage reproductions. Basically, what those are I'll take. Someone will come to me and they say, "Look, I would love to have a 62 Strat, but I can't afford a real one, a vintage 62. But they say, can you build me one exactly like a 62? And I'll say, yeah, I can, and I do those. Some high-end guitars, like there's one on my website there. It's a Merle Haggard Tough Dog Telly, signature Fender Telly. And I build a few of those because there's customers out there that can't afford to spend $8,600 from the custom shop for one.
Yeah, of course not.
And that's what they cost. And it's a 2-year waiting period to get one because they're not in production anymore.
Wow.
So I'll build something like that for a customer if they request it, But that's what vintage reproductions are. They're basically an exact reproduction of the original, not like Fender does or Gibson when they call them reissues, because reissues are not exact.
Yeah, they change specs on them.
They change the specs on them. They change little things, like, for example, on a a 57 or a 58 Les Paul Jr. You can get the reissues, and from a distance they look the same. But if you really know what a Les Paul Jr. looks like from 57 to 59, there's certain little things that you would pick up right away that are different on the reissue, and that is the pickguard's not exactly the same. The body shape is slightly different. For example, above where the neck joint is on the Les Paul Jr.,
yep,
on a 57, the radius on the edge comes down, and it stops about a half an inch to 5/8 of an inch before it reaches the neck, and it's square there. It's like a 90-degree angle.
Oh, okay.
They didn't finish the roundness, the radius on the edge, and the reason they did that is because the pickguard comes up about a quarter of an inch past the end of the neck, and they couldn't have a round edge there. That's the way the originals were made, but the reissues are not like that.
So the pickguards are cut short, I guess, on the reissues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And slightly different shape, So there's little things like that are not the same. Like, I could take one of my reproductions and set it next to an original, and you could look at both and you would not be able to tell the difference between them.
Wow.
If the original was in really good shape and the finish was good, you couldn't tell the difference.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's what I do. I try to make them identical.
And you're also you also do repairs as well to vintage instruments and things.
Repairs is a big part of my business, probably 70% of my business.
Okay.
I have guitars coming and going all the time that come in for repairs. It could be a setup. It could be, installing new frets or redressing a fingerboard or painting a guitar, repairing a broken guitar, fixing wiring, a whole slew of stuff.
I think
I
saw
work on both electrics and acoustics.
Yeah, because I think I saw there was a couple acoustic repairs you had on your website where there was holes in the side of the guitar that you plugged pretty seamlessly too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I do stuff like that, and that's where most of my business is. Repair work.
That's very cool. So I think we're going to cut it off there because I think we've got a good half hour worth of material. Anything you want to say just to end the conversation?
In terms of my prices, I try to keep my prices competitive. I don't want to overprice my product, but at the same time, I want to cover my costs and what I need to get per hour for my labor. But some guitars cost more than others, and that's because there's more put into it, like the ones with inlay work or, more expensive pickups like Lawler pickups, for example, or a boutique custom pickup. When I use those, I charge more for the guitar. So my range really can be anywhere from $1,100-$1,200 up to $3,000.
One last question. Very cool. One last question. What guitar are you playing right now?
I'm playing a custom Kelly that I built for myself.
Beauty.
And I got an SG, a left-handed SG that I bought off eBay and restored. And those are the two guitars. And then I got a Fender Jazz bass that's a 65 that I bought. And, actually, my mother bought it for me in 65, and I've had it ever since.
That's awesome. And you've kept it in playing shape?
I'm a bass player by trade, more or less. I played bass my whole life, but I play guitar as well.
Wow.
But bass was the guitar that I played in bands.
Yeah, I started out as a bass player as well.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah. Back in the 60s, there wasn't very many bass players around, so someone had to play bass.
So you would have always had a gig.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the conversation, Zane. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
And I hope to talk to you again sometime.
Okay, good enough. Thanks for the phone call.
Anytime. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye. Once again, that was a conversation with Zane O'Brien of Legend Custom Guitars in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada, building legendary instruments since 1988. They got very cool stuff. Check them out at www.legendguitars.com. That's it for this episode. We'd like to make more, but in order to do so, we need more people to sign up to be featured in this way. So if you or someone you know is a Canadian who builds amps, cabinets, guitars, basses, then get in touch with us through www.nextgenguitars.ca or email us at sales@nextgenguitars.ca. Please leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts on the video. If you liked it, then give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and hopefully we'll have some more cool videos on the way. Until next time, thank you for watching.